Shri Baijayant Panda.
Madam Speaker, the Indian Constitution is one of the most widely lauded documents of its nature anywhere in the world. In the modern annals of democracy, reams have been written about how the Indian Constitution has taken the best of various democracies, the best features, and enshrined them into the rights of the Indian citizen, which stands second to none anywhere in the world. But, Madam Speaker, the fact remains that while the Indian Constitution recognizes every citizen as equal, while the fact remains that the Constitution specifically enshrines upon the nation to treat as equal every citizen irrespective of caste, creed, religious background, and many other criteria, the fact remains that hundreds of millions of our fellow citizens are not equal. And they are not equal because of no fault of theirs. They are not equal not because they don't fall into any of these categories. It is true that barriers of caste, barriers of religion affect many Indian citizens. But the fact remains that one of the biggest predictors of the disadvantaged in our country is simply an accident of birth, and that can be related to the region that they are born in. If we look at the statistics of development in our country, I have here with me, Madam Speaker, a map which indicates the income patterns of various regions, of various states in our country. And when we read this map, what strikes us is that it is a scarred, pockmarked map which indicates that there are broad swathes of regions in our country which, although their neighboring states, their neighboring regions have often done very well, many of these states have fallen behind and have led to those of our citizens who are in those states and in those regions being denied the basic opportunities that Indian citizenship should afford them. Madam Speaker, I look at states like my own, Odisha. I look at some of my neighboring states like Bihar. I look at states like Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh. The list is somewhat extensive. I don't wish to go into each one of them. But one thing stands out. When you look at the regions that are disadvantaged, you recognize that not a small proportion, but a rather significant proportion of our population is disadvantaged simply by virtue of having been born in these regions and not having the same opportunities as other Indian citizens in other parts of the country. Madam Speaker, it is also obvious that it is these disadvantaged regions which are the breeding grounds of disaffectation. These are the breeding grounds of Naxalism. These are the breeding grounds of extremist movements. If we are to tackle these problems which challenge the Indian nation, which challenge the Indian Constitution, we cannot do it by the stick alone. Our approach has to have both carrot and stick. Our approach has to focus on the developmental requirements of these regions, particularly these backward regions which have been left behind despite the professions of the Indian Constitution and Indian governments of the last 62 years that there will be balanced regional development throughout our country. Madam Speaker, it is a matter of national shame that 62 years after we gained independence, there is such imbalance. Some would actually say, and some do actually say, that there is not that much imbalance. Statistics are being quoted. For example, one statistic which is internationally used to evaluate distribution of income is something known as the Gini coefficient. A low Gini coefficient indicates, like many Scandinavian countries for instance, that income distribution is somewhat fair. A high Gini coefficient, as in many African and Latin American countries, indicates that there is great disparity in the income between the rich and the poor. Now, if you just look at the statistics, it often appears that India is not doing too badly. We have a lower than average Gini index of the countries of the world. In fact, we have a better Gini coefficient than countries like China, which are often compared to India as doing a better job of development. So while we can sometimes take pride in saying that if we consider our entire 1.2 billion population, our income distribution is less unfair than countries like China. But if we dig deeper into the statistics, it stands out. It stands out like a very sore thumb that very large chunks of our population, very large chunks of our geography are disadvantaged, disaffected, and as I said before, the breeding grounds of extremism.